The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Need me a little something right quick. Work has been stressful all week. Thinking if I should just quit. Pour me a drink. I need no ice or chase up. My boss is a spot to stay come. But Lord know I need that paper. I just reach work. My boss done tripping. She talking about why I late if I spend all the night sipping. I shake my head, cause there ain't no doubt. She already know from I was eating chicken sauce.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Thursday, the 5th of February, 2026, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. And the word for today is, I just learned this word and I'm learning to pronounce it, emplemania. Emplemania. It is... The word refers to a mania for holding public office, derived from the Spanish empleo, employment, right? I'm going to use it in a sentence. Quote, driven to despair, thought of officialdom as the only possible way to live a life different from a futile intellectuals driven by empleomania. So I found that word in today's Nassau Guardian, a letter to the editor. And I had to look it up to make sure I not only knew what it meant, but I understood how to pronounce it. I'm still practicing how to pronounce it. A letter to the editor in today's Guardian, a call for genuine leadership. Oh, the papers are filled today with news. Nassau Guardian headlines, new hospital will have 50-50 labor split. Another headline, PM Pintard row over BPL fuel hedge. Garden Hills residents want to see what Rick Fox can do. In the Tribune headlines, broken neck suffered in illegal Uber ride. Davis calls Pintard stupid during House energy debate. 50-50 labor split for building new hospital. Darville ministry will call up 47 retired nurses as they look to recruit 50 more from Ghana. There's so much. Started the show with is Pour Me a Drink by Tonash. I could be honest with you, if you call me stupid at work in front of my colleagues, you may have to pour me a drink. But I'm a Hannah Hasty Time, so don't. In fact, don't pour me a drink, and definitely don't call me stupid at work in front of my colleagues. I am so disappointed. So disappointed that that's the language that the Prime Minister would use, especially when the record clearly shows if we're going to use the word stupid, if we're going to, what is not, attribute is not the correct word, or the conjugation. But if we're going to apply the word stupid to government actors, is there a mirror in the House of Assembly? You know that window, Shannon door, didn't break, almost broke. Is it clean enough for you to look in the mirror and see your reflection, sir? There's just a pause for you to think about it. Not only is it inappropriate, it is, I think, hilarious that you would use a word that could be easily attributed, right? Applied to your administration and its actions since 2021. We could go through a list of things that people may identify as sunning the media, gutting the media, then turning around and lambasting incorrectly, by the way, reputable and credited entities and journalists in the country, to then turn around and write a beautiful statement about how you're going to petition cabinet to invest in journalism in the country, to then turn around and use the office of the Prime Minister's press room as a PLP party enclave, where you'll just publish the most foolish drivel. I got 2 examples for today's show. Now, when I say foolish drivel, that was a bit, cavalier? It was a bit loose. For example, today is the 5th. Yesterday was the 4th. Here is a statement or a speech posted to the OPM press room. Prime Minister Philip Davis's remarks at the Prime Minister's luncheon for religious leaders. We can start right there. When you say religious leaders, did you invite anybody outside of the Christian faith to this event for religious leaders? Because after reading through the speech, I see that there are multiple faiths in the room. In fact, I don't see a recognition that there's any faith in the room, because after reading the statement, I can read some excerpts from it, it appears as if you use the state's resources to entertain Christian pastors and reverends in a campaign exercise. Again, PM Davis's remarks at the Prime Minister's luncheon for religious leaders. These are excerpts, not the full speech. Quote, "When I look at the Bahamas, I see a nation that God has abundantly blessed, but I also see a people standing at a crossroads. ... We pick it up again. And so, friends, I ask, are we walking in the light of God's purpose, or are we straying from his will? Question mark. Are we building a country that mirrors his love, justice, and mercy, or are we succumbing to the forces of division and self-interest? I cannot stand here as your Prime Minister without sharing the questions that keep me awake in the still hours of the night. I ask myself, am I leading in a way that pleases God? Am I lifting this nation in prayer as I lift it in action? Am I doing enough to inspire us to walk humbly, seek justice, and love mercy? We have pursued our work with a focus on our 4 central pillars: security, opportunity, affordability, and reform. And then you go to the OPM's page. You don't have to believe me, go read it for yourself. And then there's just a whole bunch of campaign material. There's just a whole bunch of campaign, like that national address that he gave us. And then we continue. We can pick back up later in the speech. I highlight these measures not to boast, but to give an account. See, I want you to know that that's what went on, the highlighting of measures taken on by the government. We have no time to pat ourselves on the back as a nation, nor would we be justified in doing so when we still have so much more progress to make. But it's important that we continue moving in the right direction without interruption. See, that's how I know it was a campaign opportunity, because continuity across years and generations is the only way we can sustain this progress for the long term. Here is another statement. Press statement: the Davis administration turned BPL around and put the Bahamas on a path to more affordable power, OPM. See, this is the statement I was looking for when I found the prior statement I just read. We're going to read from this statement. In fact, I printed the whole thing. I don't know if we're going to get through it. Compel the Prime Minister to call Pintard stupid, knowing that the Prime Minister has once sat as the Minister of Works with responsibility for BPL and would be intimately aware of things that we in the public will probably never be aware of, despite the claims of honesty, accountability, and transparency. Like, we've never been told who started the fire. What was that, 2018, 2019? We were never told who turned on the generator. We never, the insurance and investigative report was never published or disseminated to the public. See, the Prime Minister knows. He knows what we don't know about Alstom. When somebody who couldn't make decisions took a bribe for the faulty generators. Producer, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Are you there? I'm sorry. There must be a disruption here. The numbers to call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. Again, the press statement, the Davis administration turned the BPL around and put the Bahamas on a path to more affordable power. See, we still don't know. I see the article today saying that a significant number of families experience reduced power costs in 2025. But guess what? Just one of the agreements that were made that we don't know the full details on yet, right, gives a lease agreement for 25 years. In 25 years, I will be 75. In 25 years, how many people will remember that a member of a board associated with BEC took a bribe, was found guilty of taking a bribe for the making of a decision that that person couldn't make? Who will remember that in 25 years? In 25 years, will we be in a better position than we are now? And I can be honest with you, I was walking this path until the coldest day of the year and we experienced an island-wide power outage. And then the subsequent conversations or non-conversations that flowed therefrom. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Erin, Greene, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
Stupidity? When you really look closely at it, I assume he thinks the whole Bahamian people fall into that category for just believing in them. Because I think it's a stupid thing to vote for someone who's not going to tell you the truth about what's going on in your country.
Mm-hmm.
But then you may also take that further. Does he use that word in his home environment when he's talking to his spouse and his children?
Yeah.
You see what mark that could do to a child when you call a child stupid?
Mm-hmm. In public?
In public, and I'm sure he says it in private. But you know what is really stupid? Is living as a prime minister under the fear of the mark of the beast, because you can't call the man who really is behaving stupid in America stupid.
That's something, eh?
You see? Because you have accepted the mark of the beast. If you call him stupid, he will revoke your visa. Mm-hmm. So you are limited to how far you could go with your word stupid.
Yeah.
And Bahamian people need to wise up. We have a prime minister who has behaviors that really fall under the category of stupidity. And if we continue to elect them, we will get stupidness. God help us, man. Please.
I hear you.
Erin.
I hear you. I don't know about the mark of the beast, but what I do know is that when I hear line, thank you very much, caller. We're going to go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. Give me 3 seconds. Sorry we lost you. When I hear language like Darville Ministry will call up 40 as they look to recruit 50 more from Ghana, what's the paralysis, right? This is not a moment where you could justify stagnation or non-movement. You're following the dictates of the global north. You still need a strategy. You still have to respond to your citizens who are dying because you don't have enough nurses. And we can tell exactly where you are because of your language. You didn't say we have called up 47 retired nurses. It didn't say that. It says you will. Will suggests in the future that it hasn't been done yet. You look to recruit 50 more from Ghana. Let's go to the phone line, producer. You just looking. You're just thinking about it. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Erin.
Hi.
Good morning, Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
Erin, God help this country, because it seems as if that you're not getting the right information that you need. This is how government get themselves into problems, because they can hear the backlash, the concerns, legitimate, from Bahamians who want to be occupying and who in dire need of proper health care. But they are moving full steam ahead, and they're not even check it. I mean, who are they really building this hospital for?
Now,
is it really for behemoth?
listen, we do know I bring a local advocate who has been working in that sector. What we do know is that we have not had the conversation about what's been going on in the maternity ward yet. And I think that if the data was brought to the public, you could see a rationale for the focus of the new hospital. But with the lack of data, with the lack of policy rationale being presented to the public, right? Then people are left to question the decisions that have been made. So I understand why you're asking the question.
And then on top of that, they make you seem as if that you're stupid. You know, we know that the Bahamas is not, and I repeat, is not ranked way at the top in terms of mortality rate. We know this. I've been following the vital statistics report, Erin, from 2002, and we had some concerns back in the day, but we have been able to control, reduce dramatically the mortality rate in the Bahamas. So Dr. Darwin to come out and say they're building it because we rank amongst the highest in the region. Come on, man. Why they just keep disrespecting people's intelligence, man? Like we in the dark ages, you don't have access to information. Whatever data that we have, I use and I compile it and I watch it. Know where they're going. They cannot renovate the hospital and build a so-called specialty hospital for women and girls or children at the same time. They can't do both work simultaneously. Be up to base on gurneys while this new hospital is. What is going to happen? And what is the status on those doctors, those Cuban doctors? Are we still waiting on the U.S. to give us clearance? What is going on?
I will tell anybody right now, don't bet on Cuban doctors coming back right now. Not through Cuba. But
say something. But then,
right? They won't say anything. And saying they look to recruit 50 more from Ghana. You were telling me that you're ready for a vacation, not to be ratified again.
And the labor component, while some may not like Trump, right? But politicians over the years had us fooled to believing that in order for them to get money from China, it has to be a labor component attached to it to the advantage of China. That is not so. I listened to Donald Trump. Donald Trump told China, you can build your factories in the U.S., but you're going to use American labor. No labor from China coming into the U.S. And you watch them agree. Be stupid. We don't have no sense. They lie to us, but that is not so. It all depends on how well you are in your negotiation with China. So I don't know where these politicians going, but for years they had us believing that there had to be a labor component attached to it.
Hold on. Do you think we have sufficient labor in the country, qualified, skilled, and unskilled, to complete that project without impacting the scale of construction? Otherwise, outside of that, we don't. We don't. No. I want you to know. Hold on. I want you to know that we do not. We do not. Now, then the question is: do you ask China for a loan, but tell them that you're going to have to employ actual laborers that the U.S. tell you could employ?
Well, we can say that, but Aaron, we have.
Here's the next thing. Hold on. Here's the next thing. And I got to make a transition because I have another caller on the line. This morning on my way to work, right? I saw the most handsome gentleman in the car obstructing traffic, right? It just was, you could tell, man, the same way you could tell somebody in your neighborhood scoping for things to thief, is the same way you could tell that by watching people to take advantage of upon road, is the same way you could tell. And let me tell you, hold on.
Before you transition?
Yeah.
1 step, 2 steps, let me say this. While we have via BTVI who have been putting out students, what happened to these students? But then we also have, Erin, we have an air conditioning company here, which been around from Atlantis Phase 1, who passed the transfer skills, they're still here in the Bahamas and operating and making money.
I got you. I appreciate
never
that dynamic. Thank you. All right, let's prep the next caller. So I was going to say, this guy in the car had 2 phones. He's looking at 2 phones at the same time. I'm sure he was conducting data analysis. 2 phones at the same time in each hand, looking back and forth at the phones. See, these are the people you want to do the work? It's a serious question I'm asking, Bahamas. I'm sitting in this mic in this room. I can't see a car on the road. I can't see who's behind the wheel. I don't know you in your car or what you're doing. But are these the people that we are saying are competent and qualified to do the work? The set that run the red light and the stop sign and have 2 phones in their hand and just jump up on the sidewalk? Are these the competent laborers you're talking about? Good morning, caller. Still there? I'm sorry, I missed you, caller. I wanted to extend the conversation with Duncan because I saw this sort of comment online yesterday that suggested that the focus on women and maternity in the new specialty unit is actually discrimination. And what about the men? So I wanted to let the conversation flow because Duncan is also a men's rights and a father's rights advocate. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Greene.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I am fine, but I'm completely baffled.
Okay.
I'm at a loss.
Mhm.
It has been announced that there were some reverend gentlemen attending a party, alleged party at the Prime Minister's office.
They call it a luncheon.
A luncheonette.
A luncheon for religious leaders.
And I tend to wonder, what was that all about?
Well, after reading the speech, and it's available on the Office of the Prime Minister's website in the press room, it was posted yesterday. He is the religious leaders, and then he goes into basically a rundown on what his administration has achieved over the last 4.5 years, roughly.
But Miss Greene,
Yes.
I suspect that he has given the religious leaders a great deal of money. Say, for example, allegedly, $150,000 now before the election and $50,000 after the election. It is a scary situation to be in.
If that were true, yes. If it were true. Absolutely.
It is scary. And if that is so, if that is correct, then, of course, I cry wolf on our religious people who attended that luncheon.
I have no issue. I have no issue with the religious community being given subventions or grants or financial support from the state. But if you're going to say religious community, it must include all religions officially recognized in the country. And since...
Exactly.
Yes, sir, go on.
Exactly, Ms. Greene. One other thing I would like to say. I wonder if the staff from the hospital kitchen, are they on paid leave or what?
Good question, because we know that I think they're using a third-party contractor to provide food for the hospital.
But Ms. Greene, do you know that they can call up any wholesaler in the medical field and they can gut that kitchen and set up a new kitchen in a matter of a month?
I imagine it is possible.
Very possible.
Yes, sir.
And I don't understand why they don't take advantage of it, because it simply don't make no sense what they're doing.
No.
Thank you, Ms. Greene, for your time.
Thank you for calling. Absolutely. That is a troubling scenario if
Right,
true.
guy?
If true, but we know Well, we're not sure if it's true. I don't have a problem with the state giving support, financial or otherwise, to religious institutions, but the state must recognize that the Christian church is not the only religious institution in the country. And even if other groups do not reach out to you for support, if you're supporting one religious group, it must be accessible by all religious groups. Let's go to the phone line, and then we're going to go to this story in today's Tribune. Oh, and the text. And the text. We're going to get to the text. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How you do?
Yeah. I just call a follow-up on what Cleo said concerning the neonatal rates in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Since they began measuring in 1990, the Bahamas has had some of the lowest rates comparative to both international rates as well as the Caribbean rates. If you take I guess what they call it a long run comparison or anchor, in 1990, the Latin American equivalent was 43.9. When you look at Caribbean small states, they were 33. They were still 19.
Wow.
Same thing in 2000, they were 13%. They were 27% for both the Latin America, Caribbean, and even the small states. 2010, same thing, 13%. We have went down every single decade.
Okay.
Since 1990, when they began measuring it. So the problem is not in the Bahamas. It's the quality of care, not the availability of care. And so getting a hospital doesn't change that. And so we should be, when you begin to make an argument for a dedicated hospital that could very easily cost us $500 million. Remember, this is the bill, not the equipment that needs to go into it. And then there's going to cost us a few $1 million per year in the maintenance and the salaries. It's another few $1 million a year. And so when we start looking at the care service, you could look at statistics for where we need to scare survival for preterm and sick newborn.
See, Alan, put this in the paper, man. Put it in the paper so I could pass it on air, because the statistics that you shared today and the way in which you shared it, right, about birth rates is integral to a number of different conversations that we're having and may tie them together. It's just a lot of good information, but it's too much to pass right now. But
Okay, that's good. But I want to say one thing, right?
Yes.
In fact, let me just hold on. I'm going to go walk to my wife, right? Let me read this to you. This is what my wife wrote on the whiteboard a couple of days ago. The Bahamas needs a national decision to stop confusing activity and outcomes.
I got you. Yeah.
And so I'm simply saying is that we have our people. This is where it isn't Michael Pint that he calls stupid, When you listen to the government speak to the Bahamian people, whether it be about energy, whether it be about health, whether it be about housing, whether it be about education.
I got to go.
Things. It's like if you don't give us the information and we don't accept what you say to be the absolute truth, then we're all stupid.
Right. And the enemy, that's the best part. Y'all are the enemy. We can't be giving no information to the enemy. But I tell you what, sort of both parties have intimated the same thing. Callers, I'm so sorry. We have to go to this break. If you can hold on. If you can't call back, prep your phone right now. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259, 100-5720. When we get back to the show, we got to go to the text line and the phone line. We'll be right back. 96.9 FM.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth. so you can live well. CL, growing wealth for future generations.
Boy, you know what going down tomorrow?
No, babe, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Boy, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know, John, you don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody. I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Boy, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me.
We gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Get ready for the biggest football game of the year, Super Bowl 60. We have the best seat in the house for you. Join Star 106.5 All-Star Team live at Anthony's on Paradise Island on Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th from 2 to 6 p.m. Enjoy giant screens, delicious fun food, ice-cold Calig Bear specials, prizes and surprises non-stop. It's the place to be for Super Bowl Sunday. Anthony's on Paradise Island. Watch the Patriots take on the Seahawks.
Touchdown! Seahawks!
The Star 106.5 All-Star Team will be there to cheer you on from 2 to 6 p.m. It's the biggest Sunday game of the year, Super Bowl 60, live at Anthony's on Paradise Island. Don't miss it.
The Patriots!
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Make it a non-alcoholic beverage, please. It's still daytime. The sun is still up and there's lots of work to do. Okay, we're going to go to the text line and then we're going to go to this story at the top of the Tribune. Here's a text. This assembly of pastors sounds like the assembly of journalists prior to the last election. This is a shrewd bunch we are faced with, but we are on to them. Listen, I don't know if we're on to them because like sector after sector, special interest group after special interest group, I don't know, they keep missing the play. They keep not reading the assignment. And same thing has happened in the women's space as well, you know. Same thing has happened in the women's rights and advocacy space as well. These guys are very good at what they do. Here's another text. Morning, Erin. In reality, debate cheaper than a rally. Why is it such a big deal with Rick Fox? It wasn't such a big deal with Ryan Pinder. We have to stop being haters. So 2 points there. Debates are cheaper than rallies. And the issue of who is allowed to participate in the political process and how. right? I had some questions for today's show that I didn't really get to, right? Do the leaders of the PLP, FNM, and COI have more star power? There was another word, but star power or political credit than their parties of Bain, Bastian, and Fox, which is the bigger celebrity, which has greater star power, which can, will, or has made the greatest impact politically? Who are the stars of the ratified so far? And can the COI tolerate anyone larger than Lincoln? But let's go to the text line. More text here. Good morning, Lady Greene. What was the point Cleaver made about building the new hospital with 50% Bahamians employed? You told him we do not have the skills in the labor force to complete that hospital on time or to meet the standard on time. He says anything that come to his mind. No. The point that Cleaver made was an administrative point, right? That if you listen to our politicians, you may be left with the impression that any project of this nature with the Chinese government requires Chinese labor. You can't work with them without it. He pointed out a scenario where Trump indicated that he invited Chinese construction into the country if they agreed that only Americans would build the projects, right? And Duncan was suggesting that you can negotiate with the Chinese government on projects of this nature, despite what the Bahamas government says. Being able to negotiate does not negate the fact, or does not negate my position, that we still don't have nothing to negotiate with. Yeah, so sort of two separate points coming together. All right, let's go to the phone line quickly. I got it. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Erin, morning. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, okay. I want to make a point on this project as relates to staffing.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the problems Bahamas is faced with, we are not proactive.
Mm-hmm.
We know this program, this project is coming on stream for more than a year now.
Mm-hmm.
We said we already started to train young men. And in construction, it ain't too many men have to be fully skilled. They look for more semi-skilled people,
Mm-hmm.
for more health people. The most thing they do in construction, they need people who can tie steel, because they have concrete mixers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's probably has a stiff sign. Then you get the guys who have to lay blocks if they ain't pouring them by columns.
Mm-hmm.
We could have already started to recruit young men in the high schools, send them to BTVI or wherever to start to train. Somebody train when he takes 6 months or less.
Mm-hmm.
But they first have the skill set necessary to start the construction. Now, you need your professional strong men, so you need about 20, maybe 30%, but you don't need 50%.
I got you.
20 people who know what they're doing with some good helpers can get a project done.
All right. But preparation, ensuring that the labor is available and trained at the start of the project.
That's what I'm saying now. So we got to be proactive. Start to train young men now. You say the project coming on stream. One of the things I left in place, or I tried to do while I was director of labor, was to get into the high schools and from grade 10. And
Yes.
start to,
Because that's where it begins. It begins in grade 9.
influence young students as to where the career vacancies are,
Mm-hmm.
so they can get into it and show them the kind of money they can make.
Yes, without a doubt. So I want to throw a question in the air. If it is for you to answer, catch it. If not, don't worry, right? I am concerned about a recent article indicating that the Contractors Board has not met since the implementation of the relevant legislation because it's never been instituted, right? Would the fact that the Contractors Board has not been instituted to certify contractors, would that impact the labor ratio negotiations in a project of this nature?
Well, I guess it certainly will impact the guys that will be subcontractors requirements. It probably will impact them. So from the subcontractor standpoint, yeah, I believe it will have an impact. But as it relates to the laborers, skilled laborers, semi-skilled laborers, and just laborers, I see us having the amount of people. But one more thing I'm adding,
Yes.
Erin, we got to forgive these young men who have these little offenses like marijuana. A lot of times they have been denied access to certain jobs
Yeah.
Because the employer will say, I don't want you because you've been locked up or you've been in prison for 6 months, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If a member of parliament, if a person can serve a year or less in prison and become a member of parliament, can have been a cabinet minister, can have been a prime minister, I see no reason why we can't forgive these young men who might have done 6 months, 8 months, 9 months for little marijuana incidents that where they were convicted. That's one of the reasons why, too, we have problems.
Yeah.
And the prison maybe need to also start to train young men. Why in prison? I know we started some program. I don't know if it's still going on. An apprenticeship program, so they come up with a skill.
Yes. Must come out with a skill. And it's an obligation we have to them, right? They must come out. I would like to see a program where perhaps formerly convicted individuals who are working in these hands-on technical spaces, right, create apprenticeship programs in their companies, because young men who have gone through the prison system may feel more comfortable, right, being led, guided, into the prison system, knows what it feels like, knows how to engage people who have experienced the same thing.
Yeah. And we got to address the marijuana situation with these young men. A lot of them have to do urine tests. They can't pass urine tests because they smoke marijuana more than cigarettes. Matter of fact, some of them even smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Then you smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
We got to address that situation.
And we need to talk to them about professionalism in the workplace, right? And what it means if you have to be to work at 6 a.m. in the morning, you can't be smoking no joint at 12 at noon. Not only is it illegal, but it will still be in your system in the morning. And I don't want you to come on my job high. I could appreciate that you smoke. That's not my business. But I must ensure that you are of the right frame of mind to hit the standard necessary for our liability concerns.
The way said that, they can't go 8 hours without smoking. They got to find a way to sneak into the bushes on a project and smoke during lunchtime.
And
they can't go 8 hours without smoking a drink.
It's unacceptable. It's intolerable, right? And it does not we're not saying that you are just a bad person because we smoke. We're saying that you're an indisciplined person that borders on professional recklessness and negligence if you think it's appropriate to be intoxicated while you're on the work site.
Yeah, no problem.
Call back anytime. Call back anytime. We got one or two more texts. Morning. Those retired nurses didn't have the capacity to transfer their skills during their career, so why bring... No, stop. Stop. You don't have the capacity to do anything in this public health care service but try to keep people alive. We're not accepting that. Let the retirees work part-time or volunteer their services to the wider community at their leisure. Listen, right now we are at crisis levels. We can't train new people fast enough to fill the vacancies that exist. You know, I can't endorse what you said in that text. Good morning, Erin, and you always bring truth. Retired nurses already and go slow move, and they mix up like them. No, man, y'all stop it. The risk of having retired nurses is more for geriatric purposes. This government should have been building another SRC for themselves. They're looking for free frolics from these foreign nurses. No, man. This government isn't young people friendly in all ways. I don't think the government is youth friendly in any real way at all. Sorry, caller. I promised I would get to the texters. Citizens are dying. Families are crying. The government is denying. I am sighing. Who is lying? It is apparent that they will never be transparent. Morning, Ms. Greene. Thanks for your audacious repudiation of the PM using the word stupid. However, investing in journalism is being done. They absorb them and silence them by giving them governmental posts. Here, thank you, texter. One more text. Good morning, Ms. Greene. I see why we get swing from our political leaders. Why are people saying they want to hear or see what Rick Fox will say or do rather than asking what he has ever done? Hold on. Why are people saying they want to hear or see what Rick Fox could do when the chairman of the party said live on air that you don't really need to speak to them because they all speaking with one voice? They're going to get the memo. And then, anyway, I was going to rhyme like the other texter. Okay, so, broken neck suffered in illegal Uber ride. Dear Prime Minister, let me tell you what is stupid. Let me tell you what is stupid. What is stupid is having a minister, and mind you, it wasn't your administration, having a minister in the opposing administration poorly announce and poorly present a new legislative change to the public. Right? Left on red. The law clearly says that you can only turn left on red where there's a sign indicating that you could do so, and you have to come to a complete stop before entering the intersection, right? Then we had the head of road traffic come on air, and this was during your administration, say that, yeah, we were actually at odds with the government. We thought the line where you cannot turn left on red, right? And we're not enforcing the law anyway. You know what is stupid? Not making an announcement right away that that's not the case. If you didn't want to interfere with the Commissioner of Police in their business, the Ministry of Transport could have issued it, reminding drivers to obey the law without any statement that suggested that the police ain't on nobody run. You could have done that, but you didn't. And here's what persists now. Day before yesterday, that roadblock I was talking about, right? I want to say to the senior officer inspector who was at the intersection that we passed through in the left lane, when the car in the right lane tried to force its way straight, even though their lane was right turn only, and almost ran into you with no turn signal on and thought they was going to force us on the side of the road. You did flag them down and stop them. And I want to say thank you. And yes, we recognize that y'all put your lives in danger, because that guy could have taken you off your feet and changed your life entirely with that car. But what is stupid is calling other people stupid while you have police, senior police, the said who is drive diplomats, the said who drive senior judges, magistrates, and justices, the people in the corps of diplomats' cars, the people in the police cars, the people in the red plates, the people in the white and red plates, the people in the red and white plates, the people in the white and blue plates. Everybody and their ma is on this road acting like they have no respect for you, the leader of the country. You got people in their 70s threatening to strike people down in the road for following the law. You got people threatening to pull guns on people because they didn't let them cut them off at the intersection. You got police officers running red lights and stop signs next to schools all day, every day, with no recourse. You got police officers set up at intersections, road traffic police, collecting tax on behalf of the Ministry of Transport in the face of continuous Road Traffic Act breaches. That's stupid. That's what's stupid. The Commissioner of Police coming out and saying, like, we're stunned. And what's implied is disappointed that our policing, our safer road initiatives are not taking root. You're out here giving people headsets. You're giving them headphones so that they could obstruct their hearing while you got taxi drivers left, right, and center with no regard for humans or Christ. They're criminal. They behave like gangsters. Yesterday, my car almost got hit by a tourist turning right on red in Mackey and Shirley Street. I swear to Christ, that's when my eternal life of Bahamian ambassadorship will end. That's when I will not be a Bahamian ambassador. The tourists cuss you in the road for beeping your horn and telling them to get on the sidewalk so they could be safe while you drive your car, with other Bahamians standing right there encouraging them. The people on East Hill Street, next to Government House, continuous illegal parking in the disabled spot, running the stop sign, obstructing the intersections, Parliament Street and Peck Slope. Nothing is being done. What's stupid is this illusion that you think will never break. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas is more than an economy. It is more than a plantation. We, the people, we are not statistics to be counted and moved around and jostled and made up to look pretty. We are real people with real lives. And this story, broken neck suffered in illegal Uber ride, should be the last public conversation we have, the next thing we should see is a policy statement from the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of National Security, the AG's office, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You cannot have people offering a commercial service in a private vehicle knowing if there's an accident, there's no coverage. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why just before we go. Because you're not enforcing the drink driving laws. You're not enforcing the laws because you know in an accident, if the person who is liable for the accident is also found to have been intoxicated, then their insurance is, the person who is injured and who is not responsible has to rely on their own insurance to take care of themselves. You're not enforcing a whole law because of that. But you telling me you're not going to crack down on this? It's very basic and it's very simple, man. You want people to be good citizens? Create an environment in which they can make healthier and safer decisions. Otherwise, just pour me a drink, man. Let me get drunk like the rest of y'all. Tonash, I miss you. Johnny Cake, I miss you. I miss all of y'all, man. Anyway, Valentine's Day coming. We're gonna have a good time. You guys, I know you're gonna have a good time because Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newey is up next.
I never no stress. I am cause my best been piling up. Just give me my check.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.